What's going on, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to conduct SEO keyword research for your website. And I'm going to show you how to find the best keywords and phrases to inject onto your site for higher Google rankings and more targeted traffic. Now, this is going to apply whether you have a blog, a local or a small business website, an e-commerce site. It really doesn't matter. And I'm going to show you how to do this using both free and paid tools as well.
Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt. Just needed to throw this in while I'm editing. So this video was originally going to be keyword research using both free and paid tools, but it's actually just going to be 100% free tools. So everything in this video, you're going to be able to achieve without needing to pay for any SEO keyword tools. So just wanted to clarify that, and we'll dive right back into the video.
Okay, so before we actually get to putting together a keyword list on a Google spreadsheet, I do want to talk about a few points just so you have an understanding of them. And this is going to really help you understand what keywords you want to use and when. And the first one is going to be understanding search intent. So basically, search intent is the purpose or goal behind a searcher's query, right? What are they trying to achieve? And most keywords are going to be broken down into 4 categories, right? So the first one is going to be informational keywords. Now, these are going to be keywords that searchers seek for general information. You know, they're looking for a particular answer to a particular question. The second one is going to be a navigational keyword, right? So searchers are going to be looking for a particular website or a particular page. So the best way to think about this, imagine if you go to Google to type in YouTube, right? We all know where you're trying to get, and that's going to be youtube.com. But instead of typing youtube.com in your address bar, you're just doing a Google search for it. So that would be a navigational search. The third one is a commercial search. And these are where people are going to be looking for products or services. They are highly likely to convert, whether that's going to be buying a product or booking a service. And then finally, you have the transactional, very related 3 and 4, but basically searchers are ready to convert at this point, right? So you can think of buy shoes or whatever, sign up for free trials, those kinds of keywords. And then moving on from search intent, not only do you need to know the intent of a keyword, but you also need to know what keywords you actually kind of stand a chance of ranking for. And in most cases, it's going to be long tail keywords. So there's 2 types, there's short tail, there's long tail keywords, right? And a short tail keyword is basically going to be a super broad term. Usually it'll be 1 or 2 keywords. They're going to have super high search volumes and tons of competition. And because they're so broad, they might not always be relevant to you, even though you might think they are, right? So take the example of a lawyer. If you're, a local business that's a lawyer, the odds of you ranking for that are super low, but the odds of you wanting to rank for that, you really wouldn't want to either, because there's just more targeted keywords that you can rank for that would be better suited to your business. So that's kind of where long tail keywords come into play, right? They're longer, more specified phrases. Usually they're going to be 3 words or more. They'll have smaller volume, but they're going to be less competitive and more targeted to, your product or your service, right? So imagine you are a lawyer in Toronto. You wouldn't want to rank for just lawyer. It wouldn't really do any good. But for example, best personal injury lawyer in Toronto or car accident lawyer Toronto, right? You can see where that's more long tail. It's more specific to not only your service area, but also the type of law you practice. So that's something just to think about as we kind of build these lists throughout the video, is going to be the search intent and also kind of the length of the keyword phrase that we kind of go after.
Okay, so let's get started. We'll get right to work on building our keyword list. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is open a Google spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet, whatever you prefer to use. And the very first thing that I like to do whenever I'm building a new keyword list is just do a keyword dump, right? Just get all the ideas out that you can. In this step, we're not really thinking of, stats, the volume of the keywords, the competition. We're just getting as many ideas out of our heads and onto the spreadsheet as we can. Really, right? Because you know your business and you're going to have a good idea of the kinds of keywords that you're going to want to rank for and target with your homepage or your service pages, different blog pages. So with that being said, let's get right to work on this. Now, I'm going to be building this spreadsheet for an accounting firm, right? Pretend I was building it for them. And we're just going to say that this accounting firm is in Toronto, right? So like I said, I'm just going to kind of list out all the ideas I have for that right now. All right, so let's say we're going to go for Toronto accountant. How about accountant Toronto tax planning, tax returns Toronto, best accountant in Toronto, corporate taxes. All right, so I made a list of 10. Obviously, I'm not an accountant, and just for the purpose of this video, I'm not going super in depth as if I were doing this for a client or anything, right? So 10 is a good number for this video. But again, for your own company, you know your business the best. These will probably come pretty intuitively to you. So if you have a list of 20, 25, or 50 keywords when you're doing your brain dump here, the more the better, the more ideas and the more data you're going to get for different pages to target. But regardless, now that we have our 10 keywords in this case, I'm going to introduce you to the free tool that we're going to use for this, right? I mentioned free and paid tools. A lot of this can be done with free tools. So it's going to be the Google Keyword Planner. Now, to get to this, all you need to do is do a Google search for that, right? This is, again, one of those kind of navigational keywords since we're on that topic. So keyword Planner, and you are going to see that here in the first result. When you click on that, you're going to get to this page. If you don't, that's okay. What you can do to get here is just use the menu bar on the top. So click on Tools and Settings, and it will be right here under Keyword Planner. So basically from this page, what we're going to do is we want to discover new keywords, and we are going to go back to our list, and we're going to copy and paste this into here. Now you can see here that from this menu, we can start with keywords, which is what we're doing in this case. But we can also start with a website, and we're going to come back and touch on this in a second. This will be kind of the second part of using this tool to find ideas. We're looking for keywords, obviously, in Toronto, so I'm going to leave Canada selected. Of course, if you're in the States, UK, Europe, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Just come in here and edit your targeted locations. I could go as deep as to target just Toronto, but I don't need to do that because I have, the city in my keywords here. So I'm just going to get the results for this. Now you can see here that it spit out a bunch of ideas based on keywords I provided, 156 to be exact. So if I wanted to see all of those, I could come down here and show all the rows, but I'm not going to do that. Actually, I might. So let's just show 200 of these. You can just see the volume of keyword ideas that it provided to me. So from this step, you kind of have two paths you can take. You can either highlight all of these and add the keywords to your plan, or if you want to work from within here, we can go step by step and just kind of select the ones that we want to export. For this video, why don't we just export all of them? So what we're going to do is select this. I'm going to add these keywords to a plan. You can see here it is just kind of processing that, and it's done. So you can click here, view your saved keywords, or what I'm going to do now is just click the little X in the top left beside the Google Ads logo. And you can see here now, here's the plan that we just created. So we can rename this if you want by clicking the pencil there. I guess I'll do that, right? Toronto accounting keywords, and we will save that. Once that's done, we can click right into this list here. And what I'm going to do from this step is export it. So we'll click on this button here. And just important to note, right, you're going to be given two options. One is going to be for the keyword forecast and historical metrics. We want to do historical metrics. So if you're working with a Google Sheet, then by all means, right, click on that. You can export it that way. But if you're working with Excel, you're obviously going to want a CSV. Even though in this case, we are using Sheets, I'm still just going to export it as a CSV anyway. So once that's done preparing, it's going to download. We're going to come back right here, and we're just going to replace kind of our idea dump because now we have 156 ideas, and we have all the data that comes with it. So we're just going to import our list, and we're going to replace our spreadsheet. All right, so let's replace the current sheet and import our data. So now you can see, right, we have 156 lines pretty much of keywords that we can target and some relevant data for that. I'm going to clean this up a little bit here. So I'm going to delete these 2 rows. I'm going to delete a few of these columns as well. So I'll delete these 2 and we'll get rid of pretty much all of these. And I'm pretty good. I'm going to get rid of this one as well. All right, so we exported all those keywords, but of course, not all of them are going to be exactly relevant to us, right? And some of them we're not going to want to go after, maybe because of high difficulty or whatever. So basically, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to go through this and clean your list, right? So if I were to do this with you, advice only financial planner, I don't know if that's one I would want. It might be, right? But I'm kind of doing this quickly with you guys here, so I'm just going to delete that. Minion accounting, that obviously looks like a particular firm. So of course we don't want that on our list. So we're just going to go through all of these and we're going to delete as many of these that aren't applicable to our business. So give me a second. I'm going to clean this list. I'll be back right after this cut. Okay, so I cleaned the list a bit now. Obviously we started with around 150 and I'm down to 72 keywords. I could clean the list a little bit further, get rid of some of these like kind of duplicate keywords, but it's good enough for now. And so as we kind of study this and see what our idea dump spit out in terms of results from Google, we can see a lot of like specialty services that if we offered, we could create targeted pages for and get that targeted traffic that's just, kind of begging to convert, right? Like we're going to be serving them pages pretty much exactly what they're looking for. Here's a couple of examples of what I mean by that. Accountant for artists, Toronto. That's a super specific, targeted kind of commercial keyword that if you offered that, right, and people type that in and you were on the first page, the chances of converting on that are pretty high. We can keep looking and seeing like other examples like that, right? Like say you offered cloud accounting or some type of kind of software that you have that can help with that. If you help e-commerce businesses, right, you can create a page for e-commerce accountants in Toronto, estate accountants, forensic accountants, international tax accountants, Toronto. This one is interesting, right? Say your offices were right downtown, you can make a page for international tax advisor, downtown Toronto. Real estate accountant, right? You can see how all of these keywords are specific to the exact service you offer. So this is what would set apart a really good accounting website from a basic one that kind of say you list all your services on one service page rather than having dedicated pages for all of these, right? All of this adds up. These have on average 50 searches, the forensic accountant 50, 50, 50, right? So the more pages you have targeting like the unique keywords that your business offers, the better your website, the more authority you're going to kind of bring. This actual kind of result spit out one that I think could be more of a blog post as well. So this is in blue here. Income tax rate in Toronto. So to me, that's right. That would be more of an informational keyword. So you could target something like this with a blog post. But yeah, so this is going to spit out a bunch of keywords. So my advice is just going to be to get your kind of broad keyword list at first, clean it, and then identify which of those keywords are going to be suitable for different pages that you can create on your website, right? You're going to want to find the ones that you can kind of optimize your homepage for, right? Something like this, I would probably do bookkeeping Toronto or, accounting firm in Toronto. That would be my target keyword for the homepage. But you can see just the sheer volume of ideas we have, right? Like we have 70 keyword ideas here, probably a little less because like I said, this list could be cleaned a little bit more, but this all started from, 10 keywords, just doing a keyword dump. And this is me where I don't know that much about accounting. So think about just how the sheer volume of keywords you'll have to go after for your business, something that you know in depth. So now moving on, as I mentioned, if we come back to the keyword planner, we have the ability to discover new keywords by starting with keywords or by starting with a website. So let me show you that now. So we're going to go back to our list and I'm just going to find a keyword that, I think we want to target for our homepage, for example, right? So let's do accounting services Toronto. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to open a new tab and I'm going to type accounting services Toronto into my address bar. And once this page loads, all we need to do is just scroll down to the organic results, right? Because for a competitive keyword like accounting services Toronto, the websites that are going to be ranking, in the first 1 through 5 positions, really all of them on the first page, but they're all going to be there for a reason, right? They have a really strong website. They've got good authority. They're probably ranking for a ton of different keywords. So these are good sites to take and then kind of do some competitor research on and kind of reverse engineer the success of what's working for them so that we can take, those search terms that they're ranking for and make pages that are better, right? So what we're going to do here, we're going to take Apex's accounting, their URL. So I'm just going to right click that, copy their link address, and we're going to go back to the keyword planner. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just put in their address, and I want to get keywords from their entire site, right? So next up, we're just going to get these results. And you can see here that this spit out 541 keyword ideas. So same thing, right? We're just going to grab all of them. If you want, when you're doing this, feel free, right, to open up all the rows. Just for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to select 100. I'm going to add these keywords to a plan. And actually, I just messed up a bit because I want to get the ones that have the most monthly searches here. Actually, never mind. Forget what I said. I'm going to keep what I just did there. So again, we're going to go back. We have our new plan from Apex Accounting, I think it was. So I'm going to write Apex Accounting here. Same thing as before. We're just going to come in here. We're going to export this as a CSV. All right. And once that's done, what we are going to want to do is I'm going to add these to a new sheet. So let me go and rename sheet 1. I'll say this was our keyword idea dump. And this one is going to be comp research, Apex accounting. Right, so we are going to import that sheet again. And let's replace the current blank sheet that we just created. And there we have 100 of the keywords that Apex Accounting is ranking for. So what I would do is, do that for the first 1, 2, 3 results maybe. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that again here for SRJ, Chartered Accountants, and Stern Cohen. So I'll be back in a second here. All right, so I went ahead and I added all 3 competitors to our master keyword sheet here. I didn't clean these, and again, these only have 100 results for each of them. Depending on the competitor you do, and if you decide to export all rows, right, you might have more options than what I have here. But regardless, right, this is a good way to see what some of your competitors are ranking for. And I didn't really clean these that well. So obviously you're just going to want to spend a lot of time and make sure the keywords on these lists are super relevant to you. Right, you can see here a lot of these are those short-term keywords that as a new accountant's office or like kind of a newer site that's never had a focus on SEO before, a lot of these aren't going to be super relevant to us. These short tail keywords that we don't really stand a chance of ranking for. Right, and if we're looking at this, like this Apex Accounting, I mean, they're ranking for keywords. Saw it somewhere here in California. Right here, they're ranking for accounting firm, California, accounting in US. So in this case, this is obviously more of a international, I guess, accountant. They've got offices all over the place. So depending on the service, the industry you have, you may run into this, you might not, right? Like if you're a local pressure washer, I don't know, wouldn't really have offices internationally. You probably won't experience this. Your list might be smaller. But again, just really focus on cleaning them to be as effective of a list for your business as possible. If we move over, right, like this one has a little bit better ideas that we haven't come across yet. I just found some of these kind of suburbs, I guess, of Toronto. So if you have offices kind of in the greater city that you're in, the greater Toronto area. So yeah, go through these. I have 3. at a certain point, right, you don't really need to have like 5 or 10 of these because you are going to start having keywords kind of start repeating themselves. So I would do, 2 or 3 competitors, get a bunch of keywords, and then clean these lists. And by the end of it, maybe you want to add them all to kind of like a grand list and work off of that. But that's kind of a good overview of a free tool available to you in Google Ads keyword plan here, right? So when you're discovering these, you can do your keywords, start with your website, and there you go. You can see from just 10 ideas that we came up with our head and a bit of competitive research, we've got a list of over 70 plus whatever we would get from our competitors, say 100 keywords, and we did this in 10 minutes here, right? So the more time you spend cleaning these lists, the better, of course. But I'm going to move on now to some more free tools because a lot of these are going to be more of those kind of commercial, I guess, keywords that we're ranking for right here, or these ideas. But I'm going to show you how you can also get some like informational and question keywords pretty easily that you can use to write blog posts for and just kind of grow the authority, the topical relevance of your website within your industry. All right, so the first free tool that I'm going to use, I can actually do right from the page that we use to find our competitors for. So when you have a keyword like this that's pretty related to your service and the area that you serve, if you scroll down, you're going to see that there's going to be this kind of people also ask section. And we have this free tool here that I currently have turned off, but it's called SEO Minion. This is a free Chrome extension that you can download. So just Google that, SEO Minion, and install the Chrome extension. And I'll show you what this does in terms of like giving us ideas on kind of blog posts that we can write to target informational queries. So I'm going to turn this on and I'll just refresh the page here. And you can see on this may or may not happen to you, but I don't know, it kind of makes the screen glitch. But regardless, all we need is to come down here. And what we want to do is come to this PAA option. So you can see what this is going to do is it's going to copy all of the people also ask queries here. So you can choose what level and how many you want to copy. Of course, the longer it'll take. So I'll just do 3 levels of people also ask queries. So I'll do that. And you can download them or copy them. I'm just going to leave copy. And then all you're going to do is click go. So that's going to open all of them. And when it's done, it'll tell us. Yeah, it's kind of glitching a bit. Like I said, this may happen to you, it might not, but regardless, it's got 48 results copied now. So we're going to go back to our list, and I'm going to create another new sheet here, and we're just going to rename this one PAA, and I'm going to copy our keywords. All right, so I lied. That didn't work for whatever reason, so forget what I said. Don't copy it. I mean, if it works for you, that's great, but I just am going to download this instead. And I'm going to go. So that's going to download all the people also asked queries into a CSV. So we're going to come back to our sheet into the PAA section here. And we're going to import. All right, so we've got the title of it. And we've got kind of the parent topic as well. We've got the actual text of what the featured snippet for that question is, the URL of the website it's going to, and then the title of that page. So this is actually this might actually be a little bit better to do it this way because you get all this extra information, right? Because if we look at this, and again, we don't have any search volume or competition here, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. Like these are the questions that your customers are looking for. And if you can address all of these, right? Like we've got 49 potential questions here. Obviously, we're going to go through and clean these, but by answering these and having this information on your site, this is what is really going to set your site apart and become that authority, right? That people go to for answers and information within the accounting world or whatever, within the hand lotion world. If you sell hand lotion on an e-commerce store or pressure washing, it doesn't matter, right? Like these principles are going to apply no matter what your service is. So, right, you could write a blog post answering how much an accountant costs in Toronto. we can go through, we could answer how do you find, right? Like you could write 5 tips on hiring a trustworthy accountant or something like that. You could go in and answer what the difference is. So you can see here, right? Like a lot of these are going to be those informational queries that may not exactly translate into sales, but they're going to translate into people kind of coming to your website, getting familiar with you and the helpful content that you're putting out, right? Answering their questions or their pain points. And if you are the one, right, that's capable of doing that, then the more trust and credibility you're going to build with your readers, and as well the trust and credibility that your website is going to grow with Google in terms of promoting your content and promoting your pages to searchers with higher rankings and stuff. All right, and speaking of building the trust and the credibility with Google, I kind of just want to elaborate on what I mean by that. These are good, right? These questions and stuff, we got them by looking up the keyword accounting services Toronto. But let's say you want to really kind of rank and grow for one of your service pages. So I'm just going to go to our keyword idea dump, and I'm going to put estate accountant Toronto into our search. So we'll go here and I'll do this search. And again, we can see that now the people also ask is a bit more kind of catered to our exact query. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do 2 levels on this one. So I'm going to run the bot for this, and it automatically downloaded. So let's go back to our sheet. I'm going to add another new spreadsheet. All right, so let's expand these. And now we can see that we can find, do you have to pay tax on inheritance, right? And again, our keyword that we want, or the page we want to rank, is estate accounting. So you can see where some of these questions now are super specific to questions that somebody hiring an estate accountant would be asking, like how much are estate taxes in Ontario? That's a great blog post that you can write. Do you have to declare inheritance money as income, right? So you can see where the questions that it generates are super related to estate accounting. So if we go in and answer, if we go in and answer all these questions and we write 10 15 blog posts kind of on the topic of estate accounting, and they're all interlinked, that's important. They're all interlinked between each other, but more importantly, they're all sending links to the main kind of service page. That's where you really start to kind of build the topical authority on a particular page. So the more you do this across all your pages and across like your overall service in general, that's where you're really going to start to see the trust, not only, like I said, from your customers, but from Google as well. All right, so we're just about done talking about the free tools, but I am going to give you 2 more that are kind of like they're freemium. You can use them to a certain point, and then you have to pay for them. But just a good way to find more like questions you can ask to write content and blog posts for. So the first tool is going to be also asked. All you need to do is you enter in a query, and it's going to spit out a bunch of questions in a nice kind of map. So I'm just going to put in accountant and make sure you're in the right country for wherever you are. And we're just going to search. And here you can see what I was talking about. So I have 2 free searches left until whatever. So use this as much as you want within the time frame you're given. You might as well. But you can see here, just from that one word, right, it's going to break it down, and it's going to give us some things we can write about. So this isn't always going to be accurate, and maybe stuff like your customers would care about, right? So is it being an accountant a stressful job, right? And we can see like some of the branches that this broke into. Like, can you make 6 figures as an accountant? Like, if you are an accountant, you're not going to write stuff about this because your customers don't care. I mean, if you were a university offering this course, you might do that. So we might want to play around, right, with our query here. Accountant services, maybe we can try that. And here we can see something that's a bit more, I guess, catered to what we could be writing about. Like, who needs accounting services? You could write that, right? Everybody needs accounting services. How much does a CPA cost in Canada? You could take that keyword and break it down into your service area. So how much does a CPA cost in Vancouver, in Toronto, wherever you are in the States, Miami, right? Like stuff like that. You can write about why you need it, common tasks accountants can do for you. So play with this, right? It kind of sucks because you are limited to 3 searches, but again, this is just another tool at your disposal to find content to write about and answer. The other free tool is going to be answer the public. So similar deal, you're going to want to answer like a pretty kind of short tail keyword in here. So I'll just do again, accountant, and we're going to run a search on that and see what it spits out. All right, so it has given us all of our data. It does it in 2 ways. You can like visualize it with this map, or you can actually just open the data and see all the different types of questions. So yeah, I like to look at it this way. But yeah, there's questions you can answer. If we scroll down, there's prepositions. If we scroll down, there's a bunch of different options that this tool will spit out. So you can go through these, find more keywords to add to your list. If you make a free trial, this is actually new. Last I used this, none of this was here. And I know this tool was recently purchased, so that's probably the changes being made. But regardless, right, like, can accountants file tax returns? That's something you can write. What else do we got here that we could write about for, say, a helpful blog post? Right? Something like how accounting is important for a business, right? Like these are just more ideas and ways you can find kind of topics to write about. So I think similar up here, you can export the list, same as on Answer the Public. Doesn't look like we can do this on a light account, but regardless, right, we have the ideas. Just touching back on this, one cool thing on here is if you see something you want to further expand, like let's say, like what if you want to expand on this, we can just click on that and it's going to actually give us a search, right, based on that query. And there's a whole new set of questions. All right, so that's the end of the video. As you can see, there's a ton of keyword research that you're able to do with the free tools that are available to you. This makes ranking your website on Google viable for nearly any business, even if you've never done SEO in the past. You'll be able to grow the amount of organic visitors and organic traffic that you're getting to your site, which ideally is going to lead to more organic leads and sales ultimately. But knowing how to find keywords is just the first step. Once you identify those keywords, you want to make sure you're injecting them onto your pages properly. And this is where on-page SEO comes into play. And this is what we are going to cover in our next video. So when that one's done, it's going to show up on the screen here somewhere. So definitely stay tuned for that. If you liked this video, please leave a like on it. Definitely helps me out a lot. And if you have any questions about keyword research or any of the things that we went over in this video, definitely feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to get to you. But that's all I have for you guys in today's video. So thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.